Right, let's go. Yahoo Scallops, it's time to handle the beef and berries. Chuck your wagons, liven up your palates. We're heading to Calgary. Like it
Yahoo.
matters. This is not Top Scallop episode 11. I wish it was bigger. From Austin, Texas, I'm Johnny.
And from Baltimore, Maryland, I'm Christy, and this is a conversation about Top Chef.
Top Chef, Canada, Toronto, America, USA, could be in a back lot. Top Chef, Calgary, Alberta. Home of the Stampede.
So they finally leave Toronto and go to Calgary, and
It looks like they drove. The edit makes it look like they drove.
I don't know how far away it is.
It's like 2,500 miles.
Okay, then probably did not drive all of that.
BMW,
maybe they did, and maybe the
take me
chefs
to
got
Calgary.
to like have a little fun along the way. I don't think so, though.
I doubt it, yeah.
But they arrive for the quickfire, and they're immediately told there are 6 of you now, but after 2 weeks here in Calgary, there will only be 4, and then we're leaving for the finals in Milan, Italy. What the actual fuck?
Why? Yeah, no.
Destination Canada has only gone to 2 places in Canada, and then they're going to...
That's two. Two places, 2 cities in Canada, yeah.
Why are we in Canada? And now we're going to Milan.
I mean, I fucking love Milan. I'm not going to lie. I've been to Milan. I do have a very, very, very big soft spot for Milan and Italy in general. But that's not the point. This isn't a show about my travel soft spots. It's a culinary show set in Canada, apparently. Set in the studio in Toronto.
Go to Vancouver. I mean, there are so many other places in Canada that they could have gone. And, Milan, great, fantastic. I'm excited for that. I've never
and they
been.
usually
I would
do,
go in a hot second, but...
They usually do like the final is usually somewhere else. Like when they went to Curacao, they go to fucking Paris, whatever. That's a pretty normal Top Chef scenario. It's just, I feel like the Canada thing is just getting less and less relevant as the show has continued. And it's they've sort of half-hearted tried to stitch up some challenges to make it feel Canada, but
this quickfire is to celebrate the Calgary Stampede, which is the world's largest outdoor rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see an animal anywhere?
No.
They could have gone to the fucking rodeo.
They didn't go to the rodeo.
I mean, personally, I'm glad they didn't, because I hate rodeos. I know you live in Texas, so you...
Yeah. So I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
But why not? I mean, if you're talking about the fucking rodeo, go to the rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. There's no... The whole thing, again, is just...
It's a weird season.
It's Canada light. It's like they're saying Canada, but not giving Canada.
Yeah.
I don't... But then, whatever. The other thing that's weird, like, I'm just sort of thinking about some of my favourite past seasons and what the sort of show was like at this point. And I feel jazzed for it. But here, it's sort of like, I haven't quite got it yet,
Yeah.
And we're almost finished.
Yeah.
Like this, I know it's a TV show and it's a cooking show, but it almost feels it's that classic criticism. It doesn't have a voice. It doesn't sort of have a point of view. It doesn't have a sense that we're actually getting anything out of Canada at all.
Yeah, it's a weird season.
Yeah. So you don't like rodeos. I do love a rodeo. Obviously, as you said, Texas, pretty big. I once saw Dwight Yoakam on a rotating stage in a sequined Western suit.
That is
at the
Texas.
Austin Rodeo. It was fucking amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I love a breakfast. I love a pancake breakfast. Where do you, because not everyone loves a sweet breakfast, but where do you sit on that one?
Pancake breakfasts give me bad flashbacks to church events with my grandparents.
Okay. So maybe this wasn't your...
Pancakes are good. I like a real fluffy, thicker pancake versus a traditional pancake.
Will we call it a hot cake versus a crepe, almost?
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't eat a whole lot of them though. They're so filling.
Yeah, for sure. No. That's the thing. So let's dive straight into the quickfire. We get some pretty exceptional Calgary Stampede outfits.
Yes.
Good
Lots
to see
of
Tom wearing
suede
a sort of hat.
fringe.
Yep. Gail's wearing a weird sheepskin vinyl thing that is, I think, entirely unflattering, but, you know, whatever. It's Calgary. It's a Stampede. Let's go. Connie, what's her name?
D'Souza.
Oh, I've forgotten her name. Connie D'Souza. Yeah, she was in Top Chef Canada, apparently.
Is a finalist.
Finalist, right. I love Massimo's, I met her before at a dinner that I wasn't invited to. Very him.
Yes, very, very Massimo. Yeah, so they have to make handheld pancakes, no utensils.
Okay with that. I think that's cool. That's
Sure.
an interesting challenge. I don't hate this challenge.
No, I don't hate the challenge.
It's another, again, I feel like what they have gotten, especially in some of the quickfires, is they've set up a challenge with very few boundaries that gives them a lot of creativity, but they all just fucking make the one thing. They all kind of do a variation on the same theme. In this case, it's the cornmeal hoe cake type affair, which I guess that's cool.
Last season was cheese croquettes, you know?
Right. And I feel like I like that that it's a big challenge, that they have 45 minutes and that they've got to feed 50 guests. But like all of the talking to the public challenges we've had so far, the public hasn't been involved at all. Like there haven't really been any sort of, other than maybe like that little vox pop moment where they interview the girl in the pink jumpsuit who might be British, who might not be British. Like that kind of stuff. But there's no like, and the diners will, what I want to see when they have to do 50 versions of it and they have to feed 50 people and that's part of the challenge, I want to see the guests have to fill out a card.
Yeah,
I want to see
those are fun.
Yeah, like, and it was the same with the underpass challenge. Like, they had to do 100 fucking dishes or whatever, but who gave a fuck? They only really had to make 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one thing that bothered me, Kristen says, in the States, we say yee-haw, and Gail says, but in Canada, we say yahoo. That's nonsense. I have said both. I have said both. I know lots of people who have said both. It's just silly.
Apparently, we say yee in the South now.
Oh, okay. That's a
I
new
don't know
one
too
for
much
me.
about it. It's like it's like a redneck thing, I think. Exactly. Yahoo! Okay, let's go. I did like Schwei's little Mario.
Yahoo!
Yeah, I feel like if you sort of go back and look at the first couple episodes, he's pretty quiet and he's pretty reserved, and he's really sort of obviously gotten more comfortable with the people, with the camera, with the whole situation, because he kind of has a bit of a banter, a bit of jokes. He's pretty self-deprecating. He's kind of funny. And it feels like that at the same time, that comfort level with him has sort of hit the stride. His cooking has hit the stride as well. He's obviously found his voice and is doing the kind of dishes
food.
that yeah, for sure. Like the mums thing in the in the elimination, and the same thing that Johnny cake. It's still a cornmeal hoe cake type thing, but with the cheddar, the way he crisps it up on the bottom,
I loved that.
and the egg, and
There's a burrito that I make. It's a black bean and potato burrito, and after you roll it all up, you put cheese in the pan and then slowly roll the burrito in the cheese while it crisps. Oh, so good.
Sure. Like, so that it's got a crispy cheese
outside.
Lace outside. Fucking hey, that's the business.
That's delicious.
Yeah. I'm
I
not
loved
even
that idea.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that this guy won. I think the egg might have been unnecessary, but it definitely ties it to the breakfast. I love that Chinese lapchung sausage.
I have not had it.
I mean, it's it's almost like a salami. It's kind of dry.
It looks like that, yeah.
Yeah, but it has a particular taste. I think they make it with like wine or something. I can't remember, but it's got a real particular taste. And anything that you would use a piece of sausage or like a little piece of ground beef or whatever in it, you can substitute that in and it brings
Would that be,
something to
is
it.
it dry enough to like slice it like for a charcuterie board?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
You could slice it, and I'm not sure if you're supposed to have it raw, but I have. So, yeah, I think it's cured. It's cured in that same salami way. And if it's not, and everyone's like, "You're a fucking idiot, Johnny. You're going to die," then so be it.
All right, scallops, let us know.
Yeah, I am going to die, but hopefully not from lupchon
Yep,
sausage.
everyone
So yeah,
is.
not surprised he won.
I do love that they did the first pancake is always the bad one. And it reminded me, I'm not going to say who this was, but someone who got out of a long-term, really bad relationship, had her first hookup, and I had heard things about the person that she hooked up with. And so I talked to her afterwards, and she was like, look, he was my bad pancake. And I just loved that.
Golden. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to, you got to cook the first one, you burn it, you throw it away. And then we go. We
Yep.
start the next lot, and they're all fucking good. Yeah.
Yep, bad pancake.
Let's get the whole sweet stack.
Yes.
He was my bad pancake. Fuck yeah.
Now, Bailey's Crispell, it was gray.
That's the buckwheat.
It looked a
Yeah, the buckwheat
like
has a
a
uniquely
penis on the
sludgy-
plate.
Yep. Yeah.
It didn't look
Yeah,
like
I'm with you.
something I would want to eat. Apparently, it tasted really good. It just didn't
Yeah.
look terribly appetizing to me.
No, it looked kind of shiny in that sort of sweaty way. And yeah, the grey on grey sort of colour really was not an appealing situation for me either. But she had all sorts of stuff in there. Mushrooms and spinach and the whole thing. And obviously it rolled up good, and it's a crepe by any
Yeah.
other name. It's a crispelli, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, obviously for whatever she's done, I fully agree with you on the look. But obviously she got it right.
Yeah,
So
people
you know,
liked it.
good on you for that. Same with Tristan's cachapa. I've had that before. It's I had it in Colombia, and
Have
it's
you?
yeah, it's like a corn pancake, kind of what he did.
Is
like,
there
sliced
anywhere
up
in
with
the
some-
world where you have not been? I'm jealous. You've traveled extensively.
I've never been to Russia. I've never really fucked with Eastern Europe much.
Russia's not really the best place right now.
Not my no, not on my
Not on your list.
not on my let's go today list.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have traveled and I've eaten lots of food in lots of different places. But that's what I am actually genuinely surprised that Tristan didn't take this. The sound of that charred pepper and bacon syrup or jam or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and do a version of that myself, because like I assume what he did was burn the outside of the peppers and cook the bacon and then make the syrup with those two ingredients.
Maybe.
Just, like, I don't know, like blended it up or something. I'm not exactly sure how he would have done it, but it sent to me. I heard that and was like, ooh, yeah, fuck yeah, give me that. So
I like the idea of putting the bearberry sauce the bearberry seasoning in the chorizo.
yeah, that was another nice sort of not obvious tip, but like those two things pretty easy to find complementary. And again, it's Tristan giving a little nod to his, as he says, got to bring some afro in there. I love it. It's sort of interesting that we get it in episode 10 or 11 or whatever episode we are, like this end of the comp, because I thought the whole reveal about him being an army brat and traveling all over the world and eating food all over the place,
Yeah,
like
where
that
was
that was
that?
really key.
Yeah.
That's golden. And if you sort of look at what seems to be his philosophy to cooking and his general approach, and he can like take a little thing out of here and take a thing out of here, it all sort of makes sense.
He's really, really good at bringing different things together. So yeah.
Perhaps we could call him a culinary polyglot.
That's an excellent way to put that. Yeah.
Or perhaps we couldn't.
You
But
can
yeah,
call
I'm
it
not
whatever you
again
want.
not surprised those guys are on the top. I feel like we're looking at a potential top 3 right there.
Well,
Assuming
It's-
Bailey doesn't make a mistake.
I think it's going to be Shuai, Massimo, and Tristan.
It's hard to disagree with you. It's given the form at the moment, it's really hard to disagree with you because I think Bailey is probably Bailey is a very good cook. It
Although
looks
they
like,
are
and
going to fucking Italy, and that's her jam.
that's her jam.
Yeah.
And Massimo's. Let's not,
True.
But yeah, I think Massimo has definitely got he obviously has that level of like traditional classical technique training that, again, I feel like he's sort of really digging deep into at the moment, even if he can't work the flat top grill at the chuck wagon.
Yeah, he's very classically French for sure.
But
Talking about flat tops, my husband and I have a Blackstone flat top that goes right on our stove. So
yeah, cool.
This is a flat top weekend.
Right, so we're just on the plancha all Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, I'm very excited. Tonight I'm gonna make hibachi chicken and fried rice.
Love that. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go. Yeah. I'm probably gonna do fried chicken myself. I've actually got some chicken pieces brining in the fridge, and I'm gonna.
Awesome. I have buttermilk I'm gonna make pancakes tomorrow.
Right.
It's gonna be like a corn pancake with like bacon and jalapenos, and so I bought the buttermilk for that, and I was like, well, the leftover buttermilk, maybe next weekend I do a fried chicken.
Bird. Love that. Yes. Yeah, so while we're speaking about our lovely and gender-sensitive, magnificent Massimo, Cowperson.
Yes.
Cowperson culture.
I love that he asked that one guy to take him shopping.
Yeah, that was... Then the guy almost was like, hey, you got to take me shopping. And I don't think the guy expected that. It was a bit of a...
The guy didn't know how to respond to him.
I mean, it was a fucking incredible shirt.
Yes.
You wear a shirt like that in public, I would expect to get noticed.
It definitely says something. I mean, well, maybe not in Calgary while this rodeo is going on, since millions of people from around the world come every year.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like he should. It's a shame that he goes to the little bleenie type pancakes, because I think if he'd managed to get his whole thing working properly and a bigger size, I feel like he would have been on the top two because it sounded good. And I feel like it's sad because at one stage, Connie D'Souza looks at him and says, oh, it was really great. I just wish it was bigger.
I'm sure he doesn't hear that very often.
Maybe he does. Well, maybe he's one of those big personalities.
Yeah, I made a note that says everyone said they wished it was bigger. I wonder how often he hears that.
Yeah. And he did say, got to keep it cute or something similar. And they cut to Lana and she was almost like, my line. But, speaking of Lana, this just looks shit to me. This whole thing just looks shit. The fucking sausage looks like a drink coaster.
It looked burnt.
Yeah, the sausage looked burnt. I think it was turkey sausage. It's like, what are you doing? Like, the other thing, the cream corn hoe cake, the peach hibiscus, that sounds great. If you'd got the sausage right, this would have been good. In the end, it's soggy. The whole thing didn't work.
Well, maybe the sausage should have been the one on the bottom so that the pancake didn't get soggy.
There we go. There's an opportunity. There's an option there. But yeah, this was definitely, at least visually, and like from what it sounds like, this one was on the bottom for me. I feel sad for Cesar. Same thing. Like, he went through the whole thing about loving pancakes, but
the picture that they had of him as a kid,
oh my goodness,
with the knife and the fork and the stack of pancakes that was almost as big as he was. That was adorable.
Absolutely adorable. He's an all-round adorable little guy.
He really is.
But unfortunately, everything was too soggy for him this time on the QF. So yeah. Cool. Well, here we are in the, as you say, Calgary Stampede. We've just done our pancake breakfast. We're ready to go to the rodeo, which we don't do.
Don't go to. No. Instead, they go to a clown restaurant. For
A clown restaurant?
burgers. It
Oh,
was
yeah, that's yeah, right. We're going into that. What was it called? Clown something. Yeah, you're right. They get the burgers. Um, it, it's firstly we get the Lana story with that, where she's like, "I work for you," and you said, "Listen, you don't have the job." Excuse me. Um, and then Kristen gives us the whole, like, be true to yourself, like, use your platform, blah, 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 like, be, real, like, heartfelt, sort of honest moment.
mm-hmm.
And then we cut to the product placement with the Wells Fargo card and
Of
just
course.
cheapen the whole fucking thing, blah. But this is the time of the show where they have to pack in something like that. Like, they have to give us a 7-minute edit of a dinner because they haven't got enough interesting shit to put it in the show.
Which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
They could
Yeah.
they could have gone to the fucking rodeo.
Mate, they're at the Calgary Stampede. They had the Chuck Wagon breakfast. Instead of going to the fucking clownfish burger restaurant that no one gives a shit about, why did we go to the rodeo?
I wonder if Class Clown Restaurant paid them.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's... Yeah. They didn't really... Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
That all
before they
just
went to
seemed
the
a bit silly.
restaurant, they got their challenge, their elimination challenge.
What do you think about this one?
I thought it was a good challenge.
You thought it was a good challenge, the beef and the berries?
I thought it was a good idea. And I also like that everybody kept saying beef and berries.
Yeah, I mean, it's good times there. Let's handle the beef and berries. Okay. It's so... For me, it was a little inexplicable. I love the beef and the berries being the First Nations and the rancher sort of symbology getting together.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, very good. I feel like they should have had more education on the berries. Like, it kind of... Okay, if you've got elderberries, they're really gentle. If you get chokeberries, they're a thing. Gooseberry, they're all like really particular.
Yes. I mean, they told them each a little bit about each berry, and then hopefully they were each given the opportunity to taste their berries before they did the shop. I don't know that happened.
I mean, we didn't see it. So,
yeah, exactly. They didn't show us
like,
that.
that's what I'm saying. I hope they did, because otherwise it's a real... And again, I think whether it's the contestants, whether it's the challenges, for me, this is another one where it's like beef and berries, and everybody, except for Schwei, really, everybody makes some sort of steakhouse type dish.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Bailey does the cheeks, and you can't just grill cheeks, but other than that, also, it kind of sucks, the beef and berries, and they all have the same amount of time. How are you going to make beef? Like, whenever I make beef cheeks, I do them overnight.
I've never made beef cheeks, so. But yeah, I would
Love
think
the
that
beef
they
cheek.
need like a nice long braise.
That's how, yeah, again, that's how I do it. That's what I'm into. It doesn't look like Bailey even did a pressure cooker, so I don't know how she got it good in that short amount of time,
Yeah.
but good on her. But yeah, like, to me, it seems like the low-hanging fruit here is like grilled beef and some sort of berry sauce.
Yes.
Like, no one sort of, you could have made like a pie with the berries in it or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure, but I think that part of it was just seeing how the chefs worked with their particular berry, whether or not they were able to make it shine or if they covered it up the way some of them did.
Which, say, for example, Cesar, he's like supposedly the guy that knows the chokeberries or whatever, but even then he like second guesses himself and he's like, oh, they're too tannic, so he sugars them up.
Yeah, it did like the opposite of what he should have done.
What he should have done, yeah. Has it made you excited? Do you want to go and find fucking Haskellberries or Saskatoons or...
No, I'm okay.
No, not really. Not that jazzed
I'm
about
good.
it. And it seems like in the judging, or not in the judging, but at least in the tasting, the various Indigenous chefs really dinged them on, well, the berries aren't shining. The berries aren't shining. They didn't really get the berries up. So that was, you could sort of see where that, but I wonder if they had any I don't think they had anything to do with the judging either, though. So, not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so. Huh.
What
Anyway,
would you What would you have chosen if you could have chosen your piece of beef here? What would you have got?
I don't know. I probably would have gone for the filet just because it's kind of hard to fuck it up.
Sure, sure. I probably would have done the Tristan tip. I love that flat iron steak. Same
Yes,
thing, just like char the shit out of it so that it's almost black on the outside and then just medium rare in the middle.
I
I
do
love
love
that.
that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a piece of beef that'll stand up to it. Um, who won this one again? It was Massimo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. With what appeared to be floor leather. Did you catch that?
I did.
Seems like the whole world caught it.
I'm just going with it landed face up.
Okay. It landed face up. It didn't technically touch the ground, and maybe they just used that one for the picture.
Yes. That was the one that was for they always have to make one extra plate for beauty. Do you know why they
Right.
do that?
No.
Because in the very beginning, they were like, "Oh, well, we're going to take all these pictures and everything and then the judges can taste." And Tom was like, "I'm not eating fucking cold food."
Yeah. It's like 45 minutes after it's made.
Yeah,
It's
he's
not
like,
what's happening.
"No. This is I need to, how can I properly judge the food if it's, cold? It's not served the way that it's supposed to be served." So he kind of threw a bit of a fit, and they were like, "Okay, everybody makes
I
one
like that.
extra plate. We'll set that one aside and take pictures of it later." And I actually know a guy who was a PA on one of the seasons, and
Cool.
yeah, he was like, "Yeah, we definitely, take time with, the beauty shots and stuff." So
Yeah, and I think it's probably worth taking a second to mention. I really think what you just said about Tom Clicko saying no, this is a cooking show. It's not necessarily a reality show or a game show. It's a cooking show first. So the food, I still, even though it's like a TV show, I still have to be able to experience the food. The judges have to be able to experience the food. And I think having, obviously one of the things that makes this show successful is people like Tom Colicchio having that creative direction and holding the reins and
yeah,
making sure that it is a show that does homage to the, that
it's about the food.
works. Yeah, it's about the food, and it's about an audience that wants the food at the forefront rather than an audience that just wants the drama of a reality show.
Yeah. If you just want the drama of the reality show, almost every single other show that is on Bravo is for you. I watch not a single other show on Bravo. This is the only thing on Bravo that I watch just because those shows are not for me. It's not my taste.
Yeah, I agree. It's only Top Chef or nothing, really. But anyway, I feel like Massimo deserved the win. I feel like this is probably the most interesting and out of the box thing that he's done. Even if he pretends he says he's not doing any French technique, and then goes ahead and
It's all
does.
French.
I mean, it is a pretty classical dish from a technique standpoint. Okay, he does the leather, the umeboshi or whatever. Is he called? That's what he called the leather, right? The umeboshi, which I think is wrong to call it that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a, traditional umeboshi, but you know,
I love the style. I love what he did.
yes.
I really loved it. I love the way it sort of softened down onto the
Yeah.
beef. Yeah, that was very composed. It was very steakhouse, but not like Ruth Chris. Like
Not
not
like
just
any
I'm going somewhere to get a steak. It's like steak restaurant.
Yeah, and I've never seen that done before, except for he did the fruit leather on his dessert, which was very similar for Restaurant Wars.
Yeah.
But I've never seen that done in a restaurant that I've ever gone to. So
No.
I think that's really, really cool. I love the idea of it. Gail said that it was a showstopper, which,
A showstopper.
yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, and he was so weird at the judging. We can get to that in a second, but he's such a character, Massimo.
Yeah,
Like,
he really is.
so likable. in the way. Like, he's set up right from the beginning to be the unlikable loudmouth bully, but he just isn't any of those things. He's actually a really cool dude.
And he's super charismatic.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot now. In the very beginning, I was like, I don't know about this guy. But yeah, I've certainly grown to love him. Um, yeah. So do you want to go like in order of service?
Yeah, I don't have that order of service, so I'll let you lead and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Who came up next?
Lana started with a grilled New York
Lana
strip
started, that's
and
right.
the Palms Anna with a Haskap berry condiment and smoked Haskap berry jus.
So too many sauces.
I mean, the condiment wasn't really a sauce. It looked more like so less of two sauces, more like one sauce and a compote.
Post. Yeah, and sage, as soon as she said the sage, I'm like, I don't see the sage in there. I don't like sage and beef together. Sage can be so much.
Yeah, if you're gonna do sage in that, I like the idea of some sage in that compote, but you really gotta be very careful to keep that sage not overdoing it.
Yeah, otherwise it fumigates the whole room. It cleans out all the spirits, including the good ones.
Exactly.
We're fucked.
And her potatoes, it was way too thin. The Palms
They
Anna,
look shit.
it was. Why did you do it so thin? It's supposed to be thicker.
It's supposed to be like a little tart, isn't it?
But thicker. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had Palms Anna, so I don't think I don't even
never
really
seen
know.
it done that thin.
Right.
Yeah,
They did look sort of dried and curled up at the edges and not
overcooked on the edges.
Yeah, not good really at all. But it's sort of, again, I feel a bit sorry for her because we get the whole edit where she's wearing the fucking Patagonian hat and she's on some island and staging for some super famous guy on an island and learned these Palms Anna from him, and it's great, but yeah, not enough. Like you say, Gail doesn't like the potato, and they cut to her at some point. She's doing the when she's cooking the beef, and someone's like, "How much time do you have?" And she's like, "Oh, 29 minutes, but I'm just putting marks on it." And like, yeah, 30 minutes out to get your beef cooked is maybe too long.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely rested it too long. I don't know. I kind of feel like Palms Anna is also, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I think it's like a French thing for, Parisian courtesan named Anna de Lyons.
Oh yeah, wow.
So going all the way to Patagonia to learn that?
Sure, yeah, right. A classic sort of French technique on an island in Patagonia. Yeah, right. Okay. And obviously it is a classic French technique because Massimo looks over and he's like, "Oh, me palana." And he knows exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, look, she's got nowhere to hide, to be honest. Like you said, and I think maybe from what I'm getting, Lana doesn't necessarily have a huge amount of experience as a chef. She's got the jazz, she's got some experience, but this is a sort of career change for her. She started out as a journalist or something.
Yeah, and lots of pop-ups and private chef stuff. So less being a chef in a restaurant.
Right. Less knowing that if I over-rest that beef, it won't be overcooked, but all the juice comes out of it and it goes cardboardy and mealy and it looks like a perfect medium rare piece of steak, but it's got that fibrous. This to me, because that's how I like my steak. I like it quite rare.
Yes.
And this, when it's over-rested, it's my pet hate. When it's like mealy and like chewy in that not good way. Yeah. So I feel like, and even Kish says it at one point. I don't think about this, but she's like, "Look, this is the point in the competition where even if you make a good dish, you're going to be judged on being the worst of the six if you're the worst of the six, and that means even if you just made a tiny mistake."
Well, it's always like that at this point in the competition.
Of course,
the chefs should know that.
There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, there's no middle anymore. So, so
And we
after,
did get a thing from her saying, "Oh, I've put up pretty tasty food," and I think she's plodded along in the middle. Like I think she's probably put up tasty food, but not necessarily cooked it perfectly. Again, maybe that's the experience, but yeah, just combine this with the quick fire, and yeah, there's nowhere to go. So
hopefully, the experience of being on the show, I'm sure it's helped her grow quite a bit, and she'll do some cool stuff when it's over.
I have a feeling that what this show will do for Lana is put her even more into the media spotlight. And I think that is a role that she seems perfectly well suited for.
Agreed, 100%.
Will she become the Michelin star chef that others look up to? Hard to say. Will she become a culinary personality?
Most likely.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
If Carla Hall got it, then I reckon she can get it too. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like she's got that for a sort of a younger generation kind of vibe. I like her a lot.
I do
I love
too,
her
yeah.
style. I love her personality. She's obviously creative in the culinary sense. And fuck, man, she came 6th on Top Chef. Like,
Yeah.
even if she did hide the middle most of it, she still comes 6th on Top Chef. So good on her.
Yeah, absolutely. Better than I would
So-
probably do. So
I'd like to say I'd win.
I would not. I know that. I'd get my ass kicked.
Almost certain that I would not either. But
Yeah. So
all right, who came next?
after her, it was Massimo.
Yep.
We've already talked about that.
Which
They
we loved.
it.
Yep.
Bailey with the Saskatoon braised beef cheeks, creamy polenta, bruleed blue cheese, and roasted walnut.
I love this. I love the sound of it. I love the look of it. I love beef cheeks. I love, she's got the energy. She's on a roll. She's kind of being creative. I love the blue cheese brulee idea. I love the idea. First question, Christy, mate. Are you a blue cheese belle? Do you like the funky, smelly cheeses or not?
Not like that. No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
It
was a
I did like the idea of it, when she was like, I feel like the polenta and the beef and the blue cheese and the berry, and the walnut, like all of that together does sound really, really good to me.
It's a sugar though. The sugar and the brulee.
Yeah, the sugar killed it. That and not honoring the berry by putting the pomegranate juice in it. It didn't honor the berry.
Yep.
It looked
No,
very
you're right.
pretty.
It looked great. It was probably a good dish in terms of except for the blue cheese. Like, let's take the blue cheese out of it. Or, I was thinking about this. I would try this. I just was thinking about ways to do this to get that same effect without having to take a slab of cheese, cover it in sugar, brulee it, and then crumble it up.
How about just
I wonder
don't
if she
put the sugar
just
on
charred
it?
it. It was the sugar. Yeah, for sure. Because that Gorgonzola Dolce actually it can be real creamy and sweet in that creamy cheese kind of way.
Yeah, and I can deal with a little bit of gorgonzola. I just can't. I don't want that to be hitting me in the face with funk.
Right.
Right.
And I feel like if she just charred it and crumbled it up, like you say, with the walnuts and all the other shit, it might have been a whole different story. But yeah, Bailey, I feel like she has tried, to be fair, she sort of tries stuff on the vibe. Like she'll have a go. She tries things, and a couple times she's failed and a couple times she's succeeded.
So has Cesar.
Mate, absolutely. And I'm a bit disappointed with him, though. He did do a whole thing about, someone asked him, "Oh, have you ever used chokeberries before?" And he's like, "Yeah, they go in Chicago. I pick them all the time." Like, okay.
And then
Shit.
he didn't honor the berry.
And then you fuck him up.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we went to Tristan with the flatiron and gooseberries and the bone marrow pemmican, which I've never had, but it looked so fucking good.
Never had pemmican either. I don't think, at least from what I understand, this is that close to what pemmican actually is. But it is.
The one judge from First Nation.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
She was, that pemmican was incredible. So maybe it's not a traditional pemmican.
I bet it tasted fucking great, like a whipped beef fat with the berries and all of the stuff in it. Yeah, it's in the nitro and
I loved when he
great,
gave
dude.
like a spoonful of it to Shuai, because I would have
Yeah,
fucking loved to have tried that.
absolutely. Yeah. No, he and again, one thing that I like about Tristan, his voice is quite clear. When he tries things, when he's like, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to honor pay homage to the native thing with this, his voice is very clear.
Yes.
And I wonder if that's part of what, again, having that background of like, well, I've lived in Venezuela and I lived in the Philippines and I was here. So I know that this actually is going to go well with this, even though you wouldn't think that it would, because, you know, but I almost feel like he should have won. I thought he was going to, I thought he would have taken the win on this
Gail's
one.
beef had not been overly
Yep,
charred.
yep. That's what it was. Hey, and he does. We even get an edit for it at one point. He's like, "Oh, I'm trimming them up because I want them to cook evenly."
Yeah.
Um,
She said she got an end piece and it was just
because it goes thin at the end. Yeah, that's a shame. That is. That is a shame. That's what it is then.
That's what they're talking about. One little thing like that is enough to not have you be on top or to even lose, you know?
Well, because my understanding is they still, anyone who's at judges table, when they're at judges table, they still need to have a unanimous decision.
I don't know.
Or have they changed that?
I don't know.
It used to be. I remember watching a show a couple of years back, and it was like a behind the scenes type thing, and they were all jazzed about how sometimes they'd be there for fucking 7 hours at judges table because they'd be arguing about it. Yeah, and the rule was they had to all concur on the decision at the end of the show, at the end of the episode. So all the judges had to be on the same page, and so there's. All right, who came after Trizzy?
Next, it was Cesar with the grilled ribeye, chokeberry reduction, rutabaga cream, and bone marrow cornbread.
All sounded so good.
It looked really good too.
Yeah.
But using the red wine and sugar to reduce the tannins was a mistake.
Yep. And they all said it. They all said it straight away. They're like, why do you want to tame the tannins? The reason you want the tannins is because they go with the beef so well. That's why you drink
red wine with beef.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yep. Rookie mistake there, really. Especially considering he knows that. Well, maybe that's the thing. He knows the chokeberries, and he's like, "Fuck, they're so astringent. I don't want to give them the straight up chokeberry that's hella astringent."
Yeah, maybe that's what fucked him was knowing the berry.
And he overcompensated because he knows what it is. Whereas if he was like on one of the other ones, he'd be like, "Oh, I don't know, I'll just bang it in and see how we go."
Yeah. And then we have Shuai with Mama Wong's stuffed cabbage with braised short ribs, wild rice congee, and a black currant black pepper sauce.
He sounds a bit of a sneaker.
It sounds good. I didn't like the way the congee looked. It was like vaguely pink.
It was like totally like a hospital wasty sort of sludge.
It looked like something that I would not have wanted to eat. But apparently
agree with
it
you
tasted
1,000%.
Fantastic. Which awesome. I mean, if I had a chance, I would certainly try at least a bite, and then I might go, "Oh wow, that's fucking delicious."
That's better than it looks.
Yeah.
But this is the one. To me, this is the dish of all of them that speaks the most to who the chef is that's cooking. Like, obviously this is taking a version of a braise and combining the ingredients that he's given in a clever way into something that he already loves to cook and eat.
Certainly, but I feel like he also really, really honored the ingredients.
Absolutely.
Wild rice was one of the things back in, what was it, episode 1, when they did the 6 areas of Canada. Wild rice was one of the ingredients that was in one of the baskets. So using that, the idea of black pepper in the black currant sauce, I love that idea because that to me works so well with beef.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Punchy and tangy and a little sweet, but with
yeah.
that.
And a
Yeah, no,
couple of the
perfect.
judges said that it basically took them to another place in time,
Yeah.
and when food can transport you,
That's why you're here.
yeah, you eat a bite of something and you have a memory of something else. That's so positive, especially, if it's like a positive childhood memory or something. I love that. So yeah. Um, now that
Tom said it
Shuai
was the
is
least. So go
good.
on.
I was going to say,
Oh, I was
now
just
that
like,
Shuai is, now that he's cooking his food,
Schwei style. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that this is making all the difference. He's more confident because he's like, I'm just going to make what I know and love, and that's the key.
He does, even when he's like cooking, like when he's about to plate, they give him a little sound bite, and he's like, I feel like I'm the least technique driven or something, or he like says something about how all the other guys are like really, doing fancy techniques, and he's just wrapping braised meat in a cabbage leaf. Oh, it's so simple. But again, it's one of those things. If you do something like a stuffed cabbage leaf and congee with just a sauce, there's nowhere to hide in that. Like if you fuck that up, if you fuck up something so simple, that's so obvious.
Yeah.
But when you get it right, yeah, it's just I love a stuffed cabbage leaf too. Like fuck yeah. So
Yeah, it looked really good.
but he is
Or it
lucky
didn't
he
look
had the
really good, but it
fucking.
sounded really good.
It's lucky he had the fucking extra 30 though. Like it's kind of shit that short ribs were one of the beef choices.
I mean, maybe there was a pressure cooker at the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I'm sure there was. It just seems like a bit one-sided. Like it would suck for you if you got like the piece of beef that you get dictates somewhat how your challenge goes, right? And they weren't all even. So, which is, again, that's competitive and cool, but like Tristan gets the flat iron. That's got to be the easiest piece of beef to cook on that whole thing. Like
But
maybe Lana's New York
it's
strip, same.
also so easy to fuck it up and overcook it since it's such a thin
Yep,
piece of
that's
meat.
true.
So
That
I
is true.
don't think that it's the easiest one necessarily. Um, and like you said, he was thinking about his Afro-Caribbean roots, and that's one of the lesser cuts. So that's something that would
Yeah,
tie in more
cheapy,
to his
cheapy food.
roots. Yeah.
Yeah, peasant food. That's what he was sort of saying when at one point he's like, I wanted all the peasant stuff. He's like, I wanted the flat iron because that's one reason I love it. Like, uh, what's the other name for it? Um, there's another name
Skirt
for it.
steak? No.
Nah, I'm gonna have to look this
I
up.
mean, there's flat iron, there's flank, there's skirt.
I think it's also called. No,
Hanger steak?
it's not flanked. It might be hanger. No, hanger's different. Is it culotte?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Culotte, flat iron, and hanger are the same thing, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
And it's the back, so it's the back of the sirloin or something. Anyway, whatever. We've
I don't
too
know.
much
I
time on
love to
that.
take either skirt steak or flat iron and do why am I having a hard time thinking about it? My
Memorial
brain
Day
is
weekend, mate.
not fucking
Yeah.
working today. Hang on real quick. Um Peruvian steak dish.
With like a chimichurri sauce type thing.
Lomo saltado.
Lomo saltado. I don't even know what that is, mate.
So, you take the steak and you sear it in a wok, hopefully with a little bit of flame actually touching it.
Mm.
It's cooked with like red onion and plum tomatoes and a sauce that has ají amarillo pepper in it. And you serve it, and this is really, really weird. You serve it over rice and thick cut French fries.
That is pretty weird, but I
Yeah,
love it.
but there's
Yeah.
there's also soy sauce in it, so it's like a Chinese Peruvian fusion dish. And when I read about it, it's because there was such a large Chinese population that came over to Peru to work, and so
Yep. Yep. Yep.
that's how it happened. And I ordered it from a restaurant once back in, I don't know, 2018 or 19. Um, Absolutely loved it. Ordered it from them again once the pandemic started, and it was terrible. And I was like, well, I'm just
Oh
gonna have to
no.
find a fucking recipe and make it myself. And
So you
now
did.
I make it myself, and it's really, really good. And it's, I don't know, I just really, really like it. Um,
You know what else Peru has? So I have a friend. I have one of my very good friends. She's Peruvian, and Peru also has Lima especially has a massively diverse population. And so the culinary scene in Lima apparently is off the fucking chain because of that. Because there's a whole bunch of there was a Chinese population at one point that
mhm.
brought all their culture, huge Japanese population working in the fishing industry.
Hmm.
Uh, and so Peruvian style sushi, mate, it's a whole different thing. It's
Cool.
like a Peruvian Japanese fusion. It's fucking incredible. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Peruvian food, all about it.
that's one of the things that I love about food so much. I ordered that dish a couple of times, and then I decided I need to now find a recipe for it. And by just Googling for the recipe, I learned that the Chinese came to Peru. I had no idea,
Right.
so I love learning about not only the food, but the culture that it came from.
Absolutely. And then you have a little bit of and then when you make it, you tap into that a little bit, right? Like it's not only is it like a learning experience, but it's sort of participatory learning almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really love it. I'm totally with that. It's like, oh, that sounds like a cool idea. Let me go try that. And I think, not to big up myself, in a lot of ways, I really identified with what Tristan said because he's traveled and he's been here and he's been there and he's eaten lots of things and he's incorporated that into his repertoire. And I feel the same way for myself. And I think what you're saying, it's even another level of that again. Like, not then what you do is, so you try the Peruvian dish and then you try the Parisian dish and you've had the Japanese thing and then you can start combining them yourself. And that's what I love the most is when you have a little bit of culinary cultural knowledge and the distinct individual, like this is this in Japan,
Hmm.
this is this in here. But the I often do like a kind of a Mexican or like, Latin American and Asian type thing because there's so much overlap between
Yes.
those
Lots
two
of
things and
lots
there's
of
so
crossover.
much space you can play in. Yeah. But yeah. Um, that's it for that. There's only 6 dishes, right?
Yeah, that was it. So then we
That's
went
it.
to
Six
judges table,
dishes.
and Massimo
Um,
wins.
Massimo wins. That's sort of like obviously they give him a bit of a ribbing actually, like with the whole French technique thing and
Hmm.
yeah. Um, you got to say he is definitely looking good for a potential win.
Yeah,
Um,
he's going to be top three for sure.
and even if he doesn't, in the same way that I think Lana probably has a boost to her celebrity cachet from this, I feel like this guy certainly does. Like,
Yes.
if this isn't a stepping stone to launch his personality onto a bigger stage, then it's a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. He could definitely be a huge culinary personality. Um, he could go global, or he could just, stay in Montreal.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like he's the kind of guy that could become like a big thing in Montreal for sure.
yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um, and yeah, look, for me, it really, like you say, as much as I would love to see a lady in the finals, I it's 50-50 whether Bailey will make a mistake and go. Um, Look, to be honest, it's 50-50 that any of them make a mistake
sure,
and go.
sure.
Like even Tristan, who seems to have been pretty Teflon, like, you know, nothing much has fucked with him so far. He's made a couple mistakes, and all you got to do is misjudge something or have a bad
Absolutely. Yeah.
timing, and you're fucked.
He's been on the bottom a couple of times. He's not infallible. Um, so yeah, Massimo, Schwei, and Tristan on top, which I personally think that's going to be the final three. Um, Bailey, Lana, and Cesar on the bottom. And yeah, as much as I loved her, it was Lana's time to go.
Yeah, the middle caught up with her. Look, again, like you say, she's a really great addition to the show. They gave her a lot of airtime. She brought a lot of excellent entertainment to what is an entertainment event.
And she's so cute.
Sure. So cute. So cute. I'm okay if I don't hear that word again for a little while. But no. She's definitely got the vibe. And again, she will definitely go far from this, I'm sure of it. But maybe just didn't quite have... She had the chops. She definitely got, like I say, 6 in the competition. I don't think she went home too early, and I don't think she's going to be going home too late. You know what I mean? I think this is literally the spot where after next week, we're really hitting the finals. There's only 4 chefs, and she just wasn't in that I don't think she's in the caliber with the remaining 5.
I agree. Yeah.
I have a feeling that Cesar will probably also do something goofy and fuck it up. Or maybe he won't, you know.
Yeah, not sure that he's gonna go too much further.
So in the same vein that Lana is definitely an easy setup for an entertainment career, I feel like Cesar is probably not. I feel like he's just going to go back to his restaurant and be soft and cook and
I feel like he's
be
a
lovely.
little shy for that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's one thing where in the medium that he's in right now, because it's not like you're in front of a live studio audience, you know?
Right. And there's no... Top Chef, as much as there is room for self-promotion, there's not a lot of room for self-aggrandizement. And that is what to be success, like, you know, to be sort of successful in that culinary host kind of way, like Carla Hall, for example.
Yeah, he's not that. He's not that.
Massimo is that.
Oh, 100%.
Anna is that, for sure.
Yeah.
But I can see, like, Cesar and Bailey and even Schwei just going back to the restaurant.
Schwei is going to have to move his restaurant, though.
Really?
I think that he's going to get so big because of this platform that he's on and because of how well he's doing here. His restaurant that I've been to in Charleston, number one, not the best location, not a whole lot of parking. It's kind of small inside as well. I think he's going to blow up, you know, and I think that he's going to need a bigger space, and I think that he's going to end up in a nicer part of town, which I think this is going to be great for him, I guess, is my...
Sure. Right. I mean, it sounds like he already had a fairly decent level of success.
Well, you know, when I went to Charleston, before I went, the first thing I do is start looking for cool restaurants.
Are there any top chefs there? Are there any good restaurants
that
there?
Kind of thing, yeah.
Sure.
And
Same.
his restaurant came up, you know, and ultimately my husband and I were like, yeah, let's go there one night. And we did, and it was really good. And yeah, I think that his time here is going to make it so that place is just obsolete. He's
Puts
going
it on the
to
map,
need something much bigger. I mean,
Cool.
He was already on the map, but this is, you know, millions of people are seeing this versus, you know, oh, I'm going to Charleston. Let me look at, you know, some restaurants.
And is Charleston a bit of a foodie town? I can't remember.
Yes. Charleston,
Jamie Bissett.
they did a season in Charleston.
Yeah. That's the one that Sarah Bradley and...
No.
It was
It was
what
the
was
one
in Charleston?
John Tazar, I think, was it?
Oh, right.
No, it wasn't John Tazar. Or maybe he was one of the ones that came back. They did a rookies versus returning chefs, and the returning chefs knocked out every single one of the rookies.
It's a big surprise.
Yeah, shocking there. I think that that's the one that your pal Brooke won because that was her second
Yeah.
time. And Sheldon was back for that one. And one
Yeah.
of the things in Charleston, there's pineapples everywhere. Yeah, and it's not because they're all swingers.
The old pineapple lifestyle, eh?
I mean, there's a huge fucking pineapple fountain right on the waterfront. So finally, I was like, what the fuck is with the pineapples everywhere? And I Googled it. And that was also a status symbol that when the captains would come back from being at sea, they would take a pineapple and stick it on the spike of their gate. And that basically told people the
I'm
captain is
back.
home and he's
Yeah.
receiving visitors.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I might start doing that myself.
little history.
Yeah. Little Charleston history. All right. Well, I mean, and maybe this is me just wanting it to be different, but I feel like this episode really just unfolded. Like,
Yeah. I wasn't as lackluster with this one
no,
as I
as last
was,
week.
yeah. But I also
Yeah,
wasn't
last week was a
terribly
low point.
excited by it.
And this is the thing. Again, going back to other times in the show when I've like thought about this, and we're getting to this point where it's like the four people, we're going to find out the four people who are going to Curacao or going to Whistler or going to, the place, going to Milan. And I would be like, oh, fuck, I hope it's this. I can't wait to find out. But it just feels almost procedural.
Yeah,
So,
and at this point we know even Lana is going to Milan because they usually bring some chefs to be the sous chefs in
sure,
the
yeah.
finale.
She'll be there
So
for sure.
maybe we'll
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
see
yeah,
Lana
yeah.
with her boyfriend because he's
He'll be there, yeah.
yeah.
Fuck yeah. Or he might not be involved. Yeah, right, that's right. He's Italian boyfriend.
Yes.
I'm
So
excited.
yeah.
I'm excited for Milan. Again, it's a testament to how un-Canadian this Canada show is, in that so far they've teased us going to Milan 2 episodes out. Like, the most exciting thing about this episode might be what happens in the next 2.
Well, and in the last episode, they were like, yeah, we're going to be hitting the road and going to Calgary next week. And
Next
that was
week.
at the
Yeah.
beginning of the show.
Right. Same for this week. It's like, just wait, just tell us something interesting about what's happening today.
Yeah. So they get to Calgary finally, and they're like, we're only going to be here for 2 weeks. And then we're going to Milan at the very beginning of the show. And I'm like, you're not giving us anything exciting at the end.
No.
So.
No, exactly. Yeah, it could have been a thing that you tell us right at the last minute, but oh well, no, it isn't. Well, are you ready for the final week in the Great White North?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're going to go foraging, which is kind of cool.
that's the sort of shit that I love about Top Chef.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
If they had
That's
been
what I love.
doing more of that.
Why didn't we go fishing with Tom? Why don't we go into the woods with the... Why don't we actually go into the woods with the First Nation people and collect the fucking berries? Why don't we do all those things? Instead, we went to a couple restaurants in Toronto, hung out under an overpass, and that's about it.
Yeah. They climbed a tower. They went on the Maid in the Mist.
Yeah, cooked outside in the town square in Calgary, but other than that, no real Calgarific
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
They talked
To be
about
honest, I think-
Calgary and it's fucking rodeo and shit, but then
If
all
this-
of it they had about the rodeo was people wearing fucking cowboy shit. I'm sorry, cowperson.
A person. If this had been Top Chef Baltimore, you would be pissed off.
Absolutely. There's so many great neighborhoods. There's so much here. And they wouldn't have actually stayed in Baltimore. They probably would have gone out, to surrounding areas of the
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
country,
To
you know,
Charleston,
of
to Virginia, whatever, to, or
or
whatever.
just
Yeah, yeah. Just,
Maryland is really
just,
fucking cool. I love it geographically because we have the beach on one side, we have mountains on the other, we have great cities, we have farms, we've got so much here,
and it's all
and
close.
Baltimore City itself has so many cool little neighborhoods, you know. So I love Maryland. I love living here. I love our flag. I love everything about Maryland. Um, so yeah.
I'll tell you, if it had been Top Chef Austin, I'd have been fucking pissed. If, like,
Yeah.
all they'd done was spend time in the studio and
When they
ask,
did
you know,
Top
like it
Chef
just.
Texas, they went all fucking over Texas.
And Texas is big. It's not like, oh, Canada's vast, so
It's
that's
not
why it's
Canada
hard.
big, and they were able to. They didn't even
But,
try.
no. Uh, yeah, I can't shake the feeling that this is all about budget constraints. It's all about just not spending money,
Which
which is
I
odd.
can't understand because all
So
the
just
fucking
to
product
remind you,
placement.
right, and one of the sponsors who happens to be Delta Sky Miles, why aren't fucking Delta flying them all over the spot?
Yeah.
Oh, we're on our Delta aircraft. We're in business class. That's a stupid, like,
We'll probably see that as they head to Milan.
assuming that Delta flies to Italy. I'm sure they must. Yeah, they
I
must.
don't think that they would have Delta be their sponsor and go to a city that Delta doesn't go to.
Didn't. Yeah, yeah. Apparently, also, I did see on the Reddit that one of the reasons we're going to Milan is the NBC Winter Olympics tie-in.
Yeah, they talked about the Olympics in this episode. You know,
Yes,
the Olympics was
because
here
I
in this
do.
outdoor area.
Actually, I very much remember the 1988 Calgary Winter Games. It was one of my. It's a. I first time I'd ever really watched winter sports and fucking loved it.
I probably watched it. I've always enjoyed the ice skating part.
Oh, yeah,
But over the last, I don't know, 20 years, I'm like, the Olympics
fuck.
are just,
Yeah.
I can't. I don't watch them. I don't give a shit.
Interesting trivia. I think it's true. It might not be, but I'm going to say it anyway. 1988 was the last year that the Winter and the Summer Games were in the same year.
Yeah, because
They
they
don't
would
do
go
that now.
every 4 years. And then
Yep.
they
Now
decided to
they
go every 2 years and they alternate winter and summer,
right, right.
which I think was a better idea because having both done in 1 year meant, you know, your what is it, NBC was,
That's all you're showing.
yeah,
That's all that's on the telly.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, mate, I'll talk to you about winter sports all day long, but I feel like then we're drifting even further away from the than the show than holding it in a studio in Canada. So
Yeah, I feel like time's up. Utensils down, hands up.
absolutely. All right, scallops. See you next week for our last little take in Canada.
Bye, scallops.
Bye, scallops.